or not because we have any problem with Russia. No, but that is our national interest, because we as a country have gone through the process of secession. And this is something that should always be in the back of our minds whenever we're doing anything. And at the same time, any African country will think twice before voting against that resolution, because we have the potential of balkanization on the continent of Africa.
Now let's go into Nigeria's bilateral relationship with other countries. Recently, we've had quite serial episodes of attack on Nigerians living abroad. Is this likely going to prompt you in changing Nigeria's foreign policy thrust?
You really have to study the situation very, very carefully when it comes to a question of attacking Nigerians abroad or imprisoning them, or Nigerians getting into scrape with the law. Now, you have to look at the laws of those countries and see how our own nationals are behaving in those countries. I have headed a bilateral post, that is China. I know through experience what has been going on. Now, there are a lot of Nigerians, for example, in various jails in China. But of course, any country you go to, you ought to respect the laws of that country. I'm not saying that China is doing the right thing all the time for Nigerians, but at the same time, Nigerians are not doing the right thing always. A lot of things that they do, they end up in jail. But at the same time, there's other aspects of the Chinese behavior, although they handle our nationals, which is repugnant to me personally, and I will not tolerate it, and I made a presentation to the Chinese authorities while I was there. So, you see, you cannot say simply because your countrymen are getting in scrapes with the laws in some countries, or they're being persecuted in some countries, that you are going to change your foreign policy direction. Then of course you now have to change it every day, and Nigerian gets in trouble in any country. Now at the same time, you should understand also that in Nigeria, a lot of other nationals go into trouble in Nigeria. And there are a lot of complaints that we get in the foreign ministry from other countries, irrespective of their nationals. But that does not mean they go and change their foreign policy direction. Now, you really have to go along and move according to the dictates of your own national interest. Now, our national interest says we should try and maintain good relations with almost all countries in the world, but at the same time, make sure that we protect we protect our nationals there, and at the same and also make sure that our nationals understand the rules of the game in whichever country they happen to be. So, in a way, the issue of our nationals having problems in countries should not change our foreign policy directive. But at the same time, we can also say we can take certain steps to bring home to those countries that what we are doing is wrong to our nationals. But our basic interest will still be the same, will still be there in terms of our foreign policy focus.
Honorable Minister, let's now bring a third eye perspective into Nigeria's foreign policy. As a Nigerian, when you go outside the country, the first question you are likely to ask is the issue of Boko Haram. As the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, how are you likely to address this issue in the outside world?
Well, the reaction, I'll be very honest in my reaction. Security issues today is a global issue. Terrorism is transnational. Terrorism has permeated everywhere. And the terrorists that we may have at home are not only operating at home, they are linked to various terrorist organizations worldwide. Therefore, the fight against terrorism is something that should involve the international community to come and tackle it. But me as a Nigerian foreign minister, if I'm asked, I will probably roll out those actions that have been taken and those that are being put in place to contain the problem. But at the same time, I cannot come out and say everything that I know, because when you talk about security, you have to be very, very careful in what you disclose, because that may give the game away to the terrorists. So obviously, I just tell people that yes, Nigerian government is concerned. No government, no responsible government will sit back and allow its people to be slaughtered like it's being slaughtered. Nigerian government is doing everything in its power and reaching out for assistance from those countries that have had experiences in containing situations of this nature to support us and help us through their own past experiences to handle our own situation, on top of whatever efforts and initiative that we are making at home to contain the situation. And I promise you, I believe from what I know that in the very near future, we'll start seeing a change in our security situation in Nigeria.
Now, Honorable Minister, Ambassador Aminu Wali, your tenure as a foreign minister is still pretty new. And one will wonder, what exactly are you bringing to the plate in terms of your new position?
Like you said, I'm pretty new. But of course, I have my own perception of what I would like to see Nigeria achieve in terms of its relations with the rest of the world. Any diplomat will tell you he wants to strengthen the relations between his country with those countries that country has relations with. Now, the thrust of the matter is that we should always pursue our foreign policy goals to reflect our national goals and our national objective, and at the same time our national interests. And this is something that we now have to look and determine what do we want to achieve in terms of our relations with the various countries in the world. And that is something that has already been done, but except that, of course, from time to time, we now have to review and revisit and see what are the changes, which way we can best achieve those objectives and goals in respect of other countries. Now, my goal is to make sure that we renew and review and look at those areas that are now more of a priority to for us, that will affect our national interests and also our nation as a country that is trying to move forward. It is in terms of our relations and the benefit that will derive from those relations with those countries that we have relations with.
I really must say a big thank you for making it time on this interview. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
And this is where we end the program this week. Thank you for watching. Have questions and comments, please send them via email to diplomaticchannel@channelstv.com or tweet us at diplochan or our page on Facebook. I am Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.
Channels